art of public speaking. Before beginning the session, I would like to request everyone to keep their videos on and their microphones off to maintain the decorum of the event and not to interrupt the speaker. However, it's an interactive session, so you always keep interacting and ask your queries. So now let me introduce you to the guest mentor of the evening, Mr. Rupinder Singh. Mr. Rupinder is a seasoned training professional with more than 2 decades of experience in training and development. He is also a twice, almost thrice, distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest qualification available in the Toastmaster education program. In August 2018, he represented his district in the World Championship of Public Speaking at Chicago, where he stood second in the semifinales. He also holds a diploma in training and development from Indian Society of Training and Development, which is a Government of India accredited institution that specializes in imparting programs on training and development. Mr. Rupinder also specializes in e-learning, instructional design, behavioral, and leadership training. He also has experience in mobile learning, virtual classrooms, and learning management systems. Now, I request Mr. Rupinder to kindly take over and enlighten us with his knowledge and expertise. Over to you, sir.
Wow, next time I need a mood booster, I'm going to join one of your sessions because there is so many good things I got to hear about myself. Thank you for that rather generous introduction, Madam Compere. Good evening, everyone. We are about to embark on an interesting journey. Did you know what glossophobia means? Does anyone know? Please don't go looking for it on Google. It's a simple term, G-L-O-S-S-O-P-H-O-B-I-A. Well, it is the fear of public speaking. And there are many rumors around it. There was a poll conducted, apparently there was a poll conducted in which people were asked, what is your worst fear? And some of them ranked public speaking above death. To get that into perspective, people would die rather than come up on stage and speak. How many of you are among those people? Can I have a show of hands? You could use the reaction button just to raise your hands. Interesting. A lot of hands. Oh my God. There's a hand that went up with a clap. And if I'm looking upwards, it's because there's a screen up there, not that because I'm trying to avoid eye contact. So a lot of hands going up. May I request you all to please lower your hands because I'm about to ask you another question. Thank you very much. How many of you, and I've kept my hand up because the answer to me is, yes, I am too. How many of you consider yourself an introvert personality? Those of you who do, please raise your hands. Now, if you notice, there are a lot of hands that went up. Thank you for responding. If I can ask you to please put your hands down. If you noticed, my hand is also up. Now, how many of you would not believe that I am an introvert? Well, as it so happens, I actually am an introvert. And it is through overcoming my fear of public speaking. I've not overcome my introvert nature. I'm still an introvert. I mean, if you have to see the real me, you have to take me to a party full of crowded people, and I will be standing in a corner with a drink, which by the way is non-alcoholic, in my hand. And I'll be keeping to myself. I do very well with one-on-one conversations. I do very well with one-to-many conversations. But put me in a many-to-many conversation, a group discussion kind of a thing. Watch me go quiet until I have to tell myself that I need to raise a point. that I need to speak. And today, I am here to help you overcome that fear. The fear that you encounter just before a question is asked to you in an interview. That fear that tries to gnaw away at you. Am I giving my best answer or not? The fear that you experience when you are inside a group and people are talking and you don't know how to contribute. That is a fear. And every one of us can relate to that. A lot of people, they're talking amongst themselves. There are 2 or 3 very dominant people with dominant voices, exchanging ideas back and forth. And you have a very good idea, but you are just too afraid to speak. Then, how many of you have heard of elevator pitches? Do you know what an elevator pitch is? Okay. Imagine that about 3 years from now or 5 years from now, you're working for a multinational conglomerate. You're working for maybe a government organization. You're working in a college if you want to go into the field of education. And you get into an elevator. And just as you're about to close the door of that elevator, somebody says, hold up, hold up. And you open the door. The person who steps in is the CEO of your organization or the vice chancellor of your university where you're working, or the head of your business unit. Now, this person is really tall, literally and figuratively. So this person looks down upon you, literally and figuratively, and asks you, which team are you from? And your answer is like, huh? Do you think that can happen to you? Do you think it happened to someone? Yes, it happened to someone. That someone is sitting right here in front of you. Who knows if that day I had given a different answer, my career would have taken a different turn. Not that I regret it, of course. But enough of chit chat. Time for some action. Today, I'm going to tell you about a technique which will help you overcome your reluctance, if not your fear, of public speaking. It will help you frame better answers. It will help you give better answers in interviews. It will help you participate in group discussions in a more constructive manner. Or when you're chit-chatting with friends, it will give you lots of ideas. More importantly, it will make you a confident speaker. Fear of public speaking is real. The one real statistic that I know is that 1 out of 4 people suffer from claustrophobia. This is a research that was carried out by Psychology Today, and it is in one of their blog posts that I read of there. So if I was to take out 4 people from amongst you, there's a very big chance that one of you is reluctant to speak on stage. And I am here to help you overcome that reluctance. Ready? Yes? No? Maybe? Why me? Okay. I need a volunteer who thinks that she cannot speak. Just one volunteer, just one brave soul. Let me tell you, it takes 20 seconds of insane courage to become brave. So I'm giving you 20 seconds. Just one volunteer. Show of hands. Okay, Muskan Khan said me. Muskan, I am going to give you a topic. Okay, can we spotlight Muskan, please? Host, can we spotlight Muskan, please? Muskan, if that is you trying to speak, I can't hear you.
Now,
Yeah, but there's a lot of audio feedback coming from your side.
is it now also coming?
Yeah. We'll come back to you later. I think Pooja raised her hand. Pooja, shall we go with you? Are you ready? Muskan, if you could mute yourself. Pooja, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pooja, I'm going to give you a topic. And trust me, we are not here to judge you about your speaking progress. Okay? In fact, if anything, I applaud you for putting your hand up. You and Muskan and everyone who put their hand up. The topic for you, Pooja, is there is an argument that the voting age should be lowered to 15. The pros of this argument are that who are we developing this country for? It is our children, right? And if the children don't get to have a say in the development of this country, then who does? The cons of this argument are that children at 15 are too young to decide the future of this country. So Pooja, the topic for you is, should we lower the age to 15? Should we lower the voting age to 15?
So according to me, it's no. Because, sir, at the age of 15, the students or like the children are really young. Like they don't have that kind of mindset to judge, like to for our country, like a leader, to choose a leader for our country, for our politics. So according to me, maybe I am wrong, but according to me, 15 is not a right age for voting.
Okay. Now, Pooja, I'm going to be the devil's advocate over here. And I'm going to be a 15-year-old child. And I will counter that with the fact that the adults do not seem to have made some wise choices either. Okay. If anything, they're just as gullible as children are. Right? If you look at the kind of leaders that some of the leaders that we have produced, they're just as gullible. So what are your thoughts on that?
Sir, will you repeat?
Point is that if you are saying that 15 is too small an age for children to make rational decisions, the other side of the equation is that the adults have not made rational decisions also. So how do you counter that?
Sir, I agree with your statement, but now still also I'm like not agree with 15 age voting right.
Okay, now stop. What happened right here, Pooja? The second time when I came back with a counterpoint, you kind of ran out of ideas. You ran out of ideas. You stuck with your point. You said that 15 should be the minimum age, but then you ran out of ideas. Right? Now, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It has happened to me as well. Many times I have run out of ideas. Now I will explain the structure to you. What did Pooja get right? And trust me, she couldn't have done it better. She started her sentence with according to me. According to me. Which was a, can anyone tell me what it was? Which was an actually, which was an? Which was an?
Opinion?
It was an opinion. Do you think everyone has an opinion in this world? Every person in this world?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think a newborn baby has an opinion?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Did you ever try snatching a toy from a baby?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do you
Yes,
see how
sir.
vocal they get with their opinions? Everyone
Yes,
in
yes,
this
sir.
world, everyone in this world has an opinion. And my point is, if you have an opinion, you have an answer. Because a lot of times, questions that are put to you are simply asking about your opinion. How many of you are on Facebook? Are you all on Facebook? It's a social media network. I mean, it was before Instagram. For
Yes,
you
sir.
Zoomers. I don't know why you use Instagram, honestly speaking, because I find it a useless platform, but that's my opinion. The point that I'm trying to make is, and here is an interesting fact. If Facebook was a country, it would be the third most populous country in the world. After China, India, there would be Facebook. Put things in perspective. Okay. Now, if you go on Facebook, what do you see? 850 million people doing? They're voicing their opinions. The opinions are that this is the food you should have. This is the kind of water you should drink. Rupinder, you should not be drinking this coffee. That's what I think of their opinion. Or this is the college you should go to. This is the job you should take. This is how I will run the government. This is how I will run the Indian cricket team. This is where Kohli is getting it wrong. This is where Shastri is getting it right. Everyone has an opinion. All your answer needs to do is to articulate that experience in a proper manner. That opinion in a proper manner. Everyone has an opinion. So I can literally show you that everyone has an opinion. For example, let me pick out from this group. Santosh Yadav, are you there? Santosh, can you unmute yourself? Okay. Ananya Janu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Ananya, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
See, she has an opinion. Okay. Mansi Acharya. Mansi, can you unmute yourself? Mansi, beach or mountain? Favorite vacation spot? Beach. Beach. She has an opinion. Everyone has an opinion about something. Even we have opinion about everything. And as long as you can articulate your opinion, you've got an answer. Okay. What is the correct way to articulate an opinion? Well, Pooja showed us the way. She started with according to me, right? The next thing that came, the next word that came out of her word was because. Because. So you got an opinion, you got to supplement it with a reason. Okay. I like tea, opinion, because you give your reason. Okay. I think tea is the national drink of India, opinion, because look around you, you will find a tea shop at every corner in every city. You won't find a person selling coffee, but you will definitely find a person selling tea. Okay? Makes sense? So far, so good. What did Pooja do next? She followed up her reason with an example. And the one thing that Pooja did absolutely right was closing with her opinion. Now, not many people are capable of doing that. And Pooja, if you say you are an introvert, well, hats off to you. You're doing great. Okay, can we have a round of applause for her? Great job, Pooja.
Thank you.
So I
sir.
said opinion, reason, example, opinion. Take the first letter of each word. Opinion, reason, example, opinion. First letter, opinion. What is the first letter? First letter, O.
O.
Reason, reason, first letter,
R.
R. Example, first letter.
E.
E.
And opinion, first letter.
O.
O. Next
R.
letter,
O. Oreo.
Oreo.
Yes, sir.
How many of you like Oreo?
Me,
Everyone.
yes,
Well,
sir.
then I choose to dislike everyone. I simply do not like Oreo. My 18-year-old son likes Oreo. I have no idea why he likes Oreo, but then he also likes Instagram. So I guess the damage is done. Anyway, Oreo is an approach. You start. Thank you, Jagriti, for articulating your opinion to the world with such enthusiasm. I'll be sure to call on you for a topic in just a little while from now. No, that is not a threat. I'm kidding. Okay. Oreo is an approach for you to answer interview questions, to participate in group discussions, to answer questions during the presentation, basically to have a general conversation or even for speaking in public. Okay. Today, we are going to practice Oreo first. Then I will introduce you to a second concept. All right. When you combine these two concepts, you will be giving perfect answers at interviews, in your Viva tests, everywhere. Okay. Now, I respect this quote, this leadership quote. A leader is someone who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. Okay. I do not consider myself as a leader. Let me clarify that first. But I do know the way and I can go the way. I tortured poor Pooja just a while ago, but I'm throwing an open challenge to anyone in this room. Give me a topic and I will show you that Oreo works. I may not give you the correct answer, but I can tell you that I will give you an answer. Anyone, give me a topic. Anyone.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Is that the topic?
No, it's not. Why should people like me? It's
Why should people like me?
yeah.
Okay. Time me for 2 minutes, please. I believe people should like me for my honesty. I say so because I consider that honesty is a big part of your life. Not exactly. What I consider is that honesty is a very convenient part of your life. Let me illustrate that with an example. Suppose you are dishonest. Suppose you are given to telling lies. Now you have this little thing in the upper part of your body, which is called a brain. That organ is a very lazy organ. When you lie, you're trying to make it active. You're asking it to remember all the lies that you have told. And as those lies keep on getting multiplied, at some point or the other, those lies will contradict each other. And you come across as a dishonest person. So the key to being an honest person is never to lie. And I do not lie because it is the right thing to do. I don't care if it is the right or the wrong thing to do. Believe me, I do not lie because it is the convenient thing to do. Because then I do not have to trust my lousy memory for everything. Because I can tell them exactly as it happened. So, thank you for asking that question as to why you should like me or what should you like about me. Well, the one thing you should like about me is that I am honest and I value honesty. How is that for an answer?
Great.
Okay. Okay. It might be a fluke. I might have set Muskan up to ask me a question. So why doesn't somebody else try?
Sir, removal of Article 370.
Removal of Article 370. Okay. Honestly speaking, to me, removal of Article 370, whether it happened or not, would not have made a difference. Let me tell you why it would not have made a difference, because I do not live in the affected region. Does that mean that I do not care for those people who live in the affected region? Of course I do. But here is the thing. In order to understand or to have an opinion about a particular topic, I first need to know the basis for that topic. Until now, what I understand is that Article 370 is a special status that is given to a certain state in our country so that that state can have laws that are different from others. I totally get that. And there are some international factors that caused us to do that. But if you're asking my opinion that should it is the removal of Article 370 justified, I do not have the historical context nor the inclination to decide whether it was justified or not. So to your question, madam, I will simply say, if it works out, well and good. If it doesn't, it is a learning experience for all of us. Thank you. How was that?
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. And I honestly do not know what Article 370 is. I try to stay away from politics as much as possible, which goes on to demonstrate even when you do not know the answer, you can still give an answer. Okay. Now, I've answered 2 topics for you. What we are going to do is that I'm going to pick a person. I'm going to give them a topic. You are going to apply the Oreo approach. Now, I'm not expecting you to get it right every time. So here is the concession that I'm going to give you. You can go with opinion, reason, example. You can go with opinion, straight away go to examples, and then close with your opinion. One of 2 ways. Deal? Deal? And after each topic, I will give my evaluation. And if you're still not able to figure out, I will help you out. So let me call on stage. There is somebody called the host, Harjas Kaur. Harjas, are you there? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. I hope I'm audible.
You are pretty much audible and you are visible. Okay. Harjas, this is a quote that my grandmother used to tell me a lot. Okay. And I will also type it out in the chat box for you, assuming I can get this chat thing to function. Oh my God, you already gave me so many topics. Or you can park them. After every 3 topics, I will take on a topic. Harjas, topic for you. This was what my grandmother used to say. Harjas, God's delays are not God's denials. God's delays are not God's denials.
Okay, so shall I begin?
Your call. If you want to take 15 seconds to think about it.
I can choose to speak in favor or against.
Your call, totally your call.
All right. All right. So I believe that God's delays are not God's denials. So I agree with this statement because as per my experience, when I have been denied of something, it has turned out to be the right decision at most of the points. And speaking of my recent example, I was planning to go for a vacation to overcome all the stress of the pandemic and all the FOMO of it. But then the news started pouring in that a lot of people have crowded the hill stations and it might result in 3rd wave. So I believe that that denial or that delay of the vacation was indeed a blessing in disguise. So that is why I believe that God's delays are not God's denials and they might actually be a blessing in disguise.
Excellent. So the way I look at it, Harjas, you started off by stating your opinion. You delved into the reason, and then you gave a personal story as an example. And of course, you closed with your opinion. So great job done there. Where I find that you could have done a little bit better. Number one, in order to cut down on those initial 15 seconds that you spent thinking about the topic, the trick is to start with the example, the experience, the example, the empathy. So your E can be one of three things. You can either give an example, you can either give an experience, which is a personal story, or you could arouse empathy, where you give examples, where you give analogies, okay, where you put yourself in the other person's shoes, where you have them experience life from their perspective. So, for example, if the topic could be, should we remove beggars from the streets forcibly? And you're speaking against the topics that no, we should not, because they have a right to livelihood. Okay. Obviously, you can't tell a personal story about a beggar, because God forbid if you've been one. You can't, okay. You can't give examples because those examples would be their examples. What you do is imagine that you've not had a square meal for the last 4 days. You see a person having a burger, taking a bite into that ripe, juicy burger. Pangs of hunger shoot up inside you. Now, what are you doing? You are creating empathy for that person. You're making a business case for that person. So what I would suggest is think of the example first. Go with the example and then build your opinion, reason. Your example is already ready. Close with an opinion. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. Otherwise, excellent attempt. Great job. I want my next victim. I mean, my next speaker.
Thank you so much, sir. It was great interacting with you.
Thank you. Next victim, speaker. Why do I call them victims? Anyone? Otherwise, I'll start doing. Okay, I see Meenakshi raising her hand. Can you unmute yourself, Meenakshi?
Yes, sir.
Okay. By the way, people, I'm not very good at remembering topics, numbers. So if after 3 topics you feel like asking me a topic, you'll have to tell me that we have to give you a topic. Otherwise, I will keep on giving you topics and then, you will suffer. Okay. Can I also have the co-host access if possible? Host, so that I can spotlight people.
Sure, sir. I'll just try doing that.
Okay, yeah. So Meenakshi, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Meenakshi, this is something that I get from my wife a lot, because I'm already, I apologize to her a lot. Ready?
Yes.
Meenakshi, topic for you coming up now. Remember, think of the example first, then opinion, reason, your example, and opinion. And it can be your example, it can be your experience, it can be your way of arousing empathy, not sympathy. Sympathy, empathy are 2 very different things. Okay. Meenakshi, topic for you. The best apology is changed behavior. The best apology is changed behavior. Coming up on the chat now. Meenakshi.
So, shall I start?
Go.
So, we criticize our government for their policies because we do not like sometimes. And when our government, according to our will and according to our convenience, that means in a way, government has already apologized for their policy before they have launched, or they have understand our grievances. That's why they have that's why they have changed their policy. So I think in a way that's the way of their apologizing to us. And in my opinion, the best apology is change behavior, obviously, because if we can't change our behavior for what we have done, for what the mistake we have done to someone and we have hurt someone, then the best way is to change our behavior. And for example, I have done many times by changing my behavior. And for example, I can't think of it.
Okay, I'll start with where you went wrong. So here is the simple structure. We will revisit this. Okay, Meenakshi, ready?
Yes.
Start with, in my opinion. Okay, and then whether you agree or disagree. I say so because give your reason. For example, or for instance, your examples. So to conclude or to summarize, you close with your argument. Okay, with your opinion. Okay, so let's start once again. Should I give you another topic, Meenakshi? Okay. Your topic coming to you. Meenakshi, we met for a reason. Either you're a blessing or a lesson. We met for a reason. Either you're a blessing or a lesson, Meenakshi. You can also take it as we meet people for a reason. Either they are a blessing or a lesson. Start with the structure. An example. A person who was a blessing
Okay, sir.
or a lesson.
So,
okay.
Yes. So, sir, in my opinion, we met for a reason, either a blessing or a lesson. So, I believe that this is true. I say so because now I'm attending this session and I might learn something, and I know I definitely learned something from this session. For example, I randomly just applied for this, and now I definitely know this, that I would learn something from the session. So as to include this, when you met someone or when you interact with someone, either you find something new in the life or either you learn something from that. So whatever you came across, just learn something from that.
Excellent. So you followed the structure. But where I see an opportunity, Meenakshi, is that this topic had a tremendous scope for telling a personal story. Okay, so some friend that you regretted meeting or some friend that you were blessed to meet. Okay, or taking an example of both a blessing and a lesson. Right, and probably extending it to how that reflects life, that you receive blessings and lessons in your life. All right. Okay, great. Anvesha, I hear that people are talking about you and that you want to do a topic. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I am.
Okay. Anvesha, the topic for you. Okay, I'm looking for shorter topics. Okay, here is the topic coming up for you on your screen. Anvesha, have you heard of emotional intelligence?
Yeah, it is index, emotional intelligence index, just like IQ quotient,
Yes.
emotional intelligence quotient.
Okay, great. The statement that I'm going to give you, if you understand that statement, you understand emotional intelligence. Okay. So Anvesha, topic coming up for you now. Explain your anger instead of expressing it. Explain your anger instead of expressing it, Anvesha.
I believe that, in my opinion, explaining our anger is more important than expressing it, Because if we ever disagree on a point with someone who is very near to us or dear to us, it will of course become a problem for us, probably if we do not if we express it in a very vague way. But if we try to explain our problems and our disagreements on that point, then I believe that it will of course help us out in the longer run. So that is why I conclude that explaining our anger is better, and it is, of course, better instead of expressing.
Okay, you did well with your opinion. You went into the reason. Challenges that you stayed with the reason. You totally forgot about the example. You straight away came to the opinion where you tried to close with the opinion. And this was an excellent example of, this was an excellent opportunity to give a personal experience where you got angry and later regretted it, and say that now I'm trying to explain my anger to you. Make sense? Okay. Next, I would like to call on stage Amrita's iPad. Amrita's iPad, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
I love these names. You know, sometimes I get a me phone and sometimes I get an iPhone, but today I've got Amrita's iPad. Okay, Amrita, are you ready for the topic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Are you a sports person, Amrita?
So I'm not a kind of,
Okay,
not
but
really.
do you have an interest in sports?
Yeah, a sort of, but not as, I
What
cannot
sport?
say that I am a sports person. Like I'm interested in watching sports, but not in playing, so.
Excellent. What sports do you watch?
So mostly cricket, as most Indians adore cricket only.
And Virat Kohli again?
No, sir, not as such Virat Kohli.
Nice. Good. Okay. Again, that's my opinion. So this topic comes from sports, and it is, you know, when there was a time, and you might not believe it, I was a cricketer and I used to bowl fast, and this is what my coach told me, a lesson that has stayed with me for the rest of my life. The topic is, Amrita, play to your strengths, not to others' weaknesses. Play to your strengths, not to others' weaknesses. Amrita.
Yeah. So shall I start?
What up?
Yeah. So in my opinion, this quotation as you quoted, or that we should play on our strength and not onto others' weakness, is very much right. And there are several reasons for it, because as a first of all, as a human, we should always play on our strength because we know our strengths better. And if we use other sort of weaknesses, then we can say that we are not playing the role of a humane person nicely, or we are not justifying our role as a human. So for this, I would like to give an example. Like if I'm in a situation where I know that, yeah, I can do this topic better off, but the other person is not at all good at it. Like we can think of an assignment situation where I know that that person is my friend, and he or she has told me some days ago, like I'm not good at it. And I know that the teacher would be evaluating us on this very topic which the teacher gave us to speak upon or to write the assignment upon. And I know that my friend is not at all good at it. He or she told me. And then also what I did is I volunteered his name to ma'am, or her name to ma'am, that this person will do this. But I know that he or she can't do this. So here, what I did is that I played upon his weakness because I know he or she can't do that. And what would be the result? The result would be that he or she would be marked less upon it. And the other situation was I was good at the topic, but I didn't volunteer because I want that my friend should get less marks. So this example very much, I can say, proves that how we human plays onto someone's weaknesses and we don't use our strengths. But this is really not justified as a part of a human. And we all know that we do these sort of things, and we saw people doing these sort of things. So that's why I think that first, as a human, we should play on our strengths, not on others' weakness. So that's why I think that this statement is very much justified.
Thank you. Have you ever done that, Amrita? Given somebody or put somebody
No,
in a
sir.
difficult situation deliberately?
No, sir. So if I would have
say so because with the passion with which you spoke, I told myself never to upset Amrita ever again, never to call her Amrita's iPad. Because you never
No,
know
sir.
she'll put me in a difficult situation. No, I'm kidding, of course. But I think this is a very good example of thinking of the example first, the story first. So I think Amrita caught on to that story. All she had to do was put an opinion and a reason, and then follow it up with her story. The only advice I have for you, Amrita, is that you might want to take a deep breath before you start speaking. So think of it as swimming. Before you hit the pool, you take a deep breath, right? So that you can stay afloat. Otherwise, try going into a pool with your breath without a deep breath, and you'll see the consequences. You'll come out gasping for air. So take a deep breath. In many ways, public speaking is considered akin to swimming. You know why? Because number one, will you learn swimming if you're sitting by the poolside, watching other people swim?
No,
you might
never.
get ideas, but you will never learn. You'll only say, I wish I could swim like that. Okay. So, number one, you will never learn swimming like that. Second, what is your biggest fear when you're swimming?
That I'll drown.
That you'll drown. Okay. Has anyone experienced drowning?
Yes, sir.
Great. Because I did. Because I was walking by the poolside and my friend pushed me into the pool. They were having fun. And it was the deep end of the pool. And as I fell down, I went into the water. I was gasping for air. Okay. And it was 8 feet deep. I'm 5 feet 7 inches. So math will tell you that chances of survival were low. Now, the smart thing that I did was that I opened my eyes. Okay. I opened my eyes. And I saw that the railing to climb up, that those steps, they were like literally 2 or 3 feet away from me. I fell down twice, but finally I grabbed hold of the railing and I came out, and my friend was profusely apologizing that she didn't know that I could not swim. Okay, but in that moment, I realized why people are so scared of swimming. Because if you are in the deep end and if there is no lifeguard, you're out of breath, you're gasping for air, and you fear for your life. I revisited the same thing when I got on stage for the first time. And I forgot what I wanted to say. And I found myself gasping for air, out of breath, and wishing I was anywhere but there. That is the similarity between swimming and public speaking. That is why public speaking is so difficult, because there is no lifeguard there on the stage. You have to fend for yourself. You can't find an answer. You have to manufacture an answer. That is the problem with public speaking, which is why it is considered to be one of the biggest fears. Hopefully, a fear that is being taken away from you as we speak. Alka raised her hand. She's been raising her hand almost since eternity. Alka, would you want to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay. Alka, very often we start out on something and then people, give their reasons. Why are you doing this? You should not have done this and that. Your topic today is an answer to those people. Ready?
Sir, means I have to give my life example.
Totally up to you. Whether you give an example, an experience, or arouse empathy, totally up to you. But here it comes. Ready?
Okay, sir.
Alka, always remember that you had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. Always remember that you had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. Alka.
Yes, sir. Sir, can I start?
Totally your thought.
Sir, according to me, this is true that most of the time it happens that when we decide that we are going to do this, but we are stricken by the opinions of people and think of our decision that whether it is right or not. So according to me, this happens most of the time. If I will give my example, in class 12th, I didn't opt for any coaching and did my study on did my self study. But other students of my class used to say that it is class 12th, you will not be able to score good if you will do self study. There is a requirement of coaching. So this was their opinion, not mine. But my purpose was that I do self study, I learn more, and I do top with my hard work, not with coaching. So I did that, and I proved myself. I proved myself right. I did self study and scored good, and then those people changed their opinions and said that we were not thinking that you will be able to do that, but I did this, and I also and I changed their opinion.
My New Year resolution has been that I will learn to mute and unmute myself, but clearly that is not working out. But everything went well, except you forgot to close with your opinion. But like I said, you give your opinion, reason, and example, so that is acceptable for today. So great job there. I loved your example. I also felt that somewhere you kind of got carried away with your example, and that often happens. The thing that could have gone wrong did not go wrong today. But let me explain what often happens when you get carried away. So let us say that your topic is Apple. We're supposed to talk about Apple. People tend to go off on a tangent. So it starts with I love apples. Then about 40 seconds later, if you've come back after 40 seconds, you heard the speaker say, I believe that apple is the best fruit. And then you probably went off to answer the door and you come back and the person is talking about oranges now. And you wonder, how did we go from apples to oranges? But wait, there is more. So your mom calls you into the kitchen. You go and you come back and now the person is talking about bananas. And you're wondering that if you are taking a trip down the fruit market. Turns out you're actually in a fruit and vegetable market because now the person is talking about spinach. And I hate spinach. Okay. But do you see what happens? You start with apples. You're talking about spinach. And that is called going off on a tangent. What the Oreo approach does is it keeps you on course. It tells you that you're speaking about apples. I like apples, opinion. I like them because I can have them in so many different ways. Reason. For example, I can have them as apple juice. I can have them as a diced salad topped with salt, or I can just bite into a ripe, juicy apple. Examples. The more examples you give, the more solid your reason becomes. To summarize, I like apples because I can have them in so many different ways. Okay, keeps you on course. Okay. Now, should I pick my next victim or is some unfortunate soul going to raise their hand? Okay, I see Muskan raising her hand. Come on, Muskan, let's go. Ready? All right, ignoring that static. Muskan, topic for you. Short, sweet, simple one. Muskan, be stronger than your excuses. Be stronger than your excuses. Muskan. Can't hear you.
So now,
Yeah, now we can hear you.
in my opinion, being stronger than our excuses is very important. I say so because in our life we have to go through various situations. We have to step forward to do something. For example, if I was given assignment, and I have to complete it. So I'm on the deadline. What I have to do, I have two things in my mind: whether to do it or not to do it. If I'm doing it and I'm on the edge, like deadline is just almost 2 3 hours, so I am being stronger. And if I'm not doing it, I am being an excuse. What I have to do is I have to be stronger than making my excuse. It is very important to conclude. I say that it is very important in our life to be stronger than make excuses, because it is something which will come in every part or every corner where we go, whether it's any field or any task we are going to take upon. So
Thank you, Muskan. You stuck to the Oreo approach and you gave your reason. A well thought out example. You closed with your opinion also. My only feedback is the elephant in the room, and I'm not referring to myself. It's a metaphor. It's about the biggest issue at play, which is your audio. So one of the girls, Nidhi, gave an advice saying that try removing your earphones, and that will probably cut out the static. Right now, what is happening is that that is getting disturbed. So when you are in a Zoom call, for example, in an interview, the interviewer will not have too much of time helping you sort out your audio issues. So make sure that those are sorted before you speak. Now, the second topic that I wanted to talk about today. There are three parts to your speech. Okay. You understand Oreo, you understand these three parts. Today, I came to talk about public speaking. What if I came to talk about maybe blood transfusion? And assuming you are interested in blood transfusion, would you be willing to listen to me, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I do not know anything about blood transfusion. Would you not be asking who are you to speak about blood transfusion in the first place?
Obviously, yes.
Exactly. Amrita's iPad replies. Okay. The point is that unless and until you are not an expert, you will not be able to speak about the topic. Right? Today, I said that I will talk about public speaking. That's because of that rather long, eloquent praise that our host Ishika read out for me. And that is what got you hooked, right? Now that part is called ethos. Ethos is the integrity that you bring to your communication. It is the reason why people should listen to you. That makes sense. So if I say that I am going to talk about, let's say, goods and services tax, you will say, who are you? Are you a chartered accountant? And I'll say, no, I'm not a chartered accountant. Obviously, the answer is going to be no, thank you. We've got better things to do with our life than listen to you talk about goods and services taxes, right? You would rather engage a chartered accountant to talk about it, or somebody who has a financial background to talk about goods and services tax. Is that right? Is that correct? Okay. Second thing, Did the concepts that I spoke about, be it Oreo or the topics that I gave, were they like rocket science to you? Did you have difficulty understanding them? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
That is logos. Logos. That is about the subject, about what you are talking about. If you can explain a topic in a manner that a 13-year-old kid studying in class 8 can comprehend it, not understand it, but comprehend it, then you're doing very well on logos. Many times what happens is that people tend to make things unnecessarily difficult. Case in point, you will see a lot of PowerPoint presentations, they are packed with words. It's almost as if it is a crime to have white space. So they see a white space, they'll put something there, some content over there. Now, that is done in the fervent hope that somebody is going to read that content ultimately. It is very counterintuitive because people read faster than they can speak or they can listen. Okay? If you can simplify that slide so that a 13-year-old studying in class 8 can understand it, then you've got your logos part right. So you've got ethos, you've got logos, and now comes the third and the most important part, that is called pathos. Pathos is your passion, and it is derived from your audience. I started this meeting, there were 127 people in this room. Now there are 118 people in this room. Which means that my pathos is doing more or less okay. Which is a good thing because pathos accounts for more than 60% of your communication. More than 60%. You may be the most learned person in this world. But if you cannot tell a story, it doesn't count for you. I will illustrate this with an example. But understand this, pathos is the most important part of communication, of storytelling. Consider our current Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Now, whatever your political beliefs, I really do not care. Okay, whether you like him, whether you dislike him, and there are opinions about it. Put all of that aside. What you cannot deny is that the man has the capability of drawing a crowd. He just has to show up and people will show up to listen to him. It's not because he's knowledgeable. It's because he speaks with passion. Every word oozes passion, empathy. He is able to take you there. I once happened to listen to an Everest climber telling her story about her climb to Mount Everest. Now it so happens, you might have to turn your videos on for, to understand what I'm talking about. It so happens that it's not an easy climb. Climbing Everest is not easy. In fact, getting to the first base camp is a task in itself. Why? Because there are many crevices. You understand what crevices are? Crevices are a crack in the mountain. Okay? So it's a gap in the mountain, a part of the mountain that is broken away. And sometimes that gap is as long as 100 feet. Sometimes it is as long as 50 feet. Let's just go with 50 feet. That is the length. Now, how do you cross that crevice? There are many ways. Sometimes you throw a rope and you anchor the rope on the other side and you monkey crawl your way across on the rope. There are many ways. Sometimes what happens that bridges form. Because water freezes. Okay. So there is water, it freezes, and it connects a crevice. It's sort of a ice bridge. The problem is, number one, that ice bridge is very slippery. Okay, it's not easy to work. Number two, it is only about 3 to 5 feet wide. At places just 2 feet wide. And it's one of those places in the world where you dare not look down, because it could be a 50 feet to a 500 feet drop. That's not the worst part. The worst part is that if you fall, the best thing that can happen to you is that you die immediately. Because you will definitely break some bones. And if you are alive, no one is coming to rescue you. Because the effort required in rescuing you is going to be more than getting across the bridge, ensuring other people's safety. More lives will be put at risk. Do you understand that kind of an environment? Are you there yet? It's 5 feet wide. It's 50 feet long. Usually 50 feet long, you'll cover in less than a minute, less than 30 seconds. It takes half an hour to 2 hours to cover that distance on Mount Everest. All the way, there is a possibility that this bridge might crack and break and you are falling down. Of course, there's a rope to support you. How many of you felt the chill while I was describing this? How many of you were on Everest just a moment ago? That is creating an experience. That is speaking with passion. Now, I'm not giving a personal experience, but I was able to make an impression. Imagine hearing it from the person that actually went there. I am a person who doesn't feel cold very easily, but that day I was shivering and my hair was standing on its ends. I was there on Everest. If you can create that environment inside of every person's head, that is Pathos. If you are at the top of the mountain, the rest of the world should be able to see through your eyes what it looks like. If you are in the middle of a desert and you're talking about the heat, your audience should start perspiring. That is Pathos. Where does it come from? Where does Pathos come from? A lot of us think that Pathos comes from grammar, having excellent grammar. No. In fact, grammar is only 7% of your communication. Only 7%. If you've heard the name Albert Mehrabian, he carried out a research. Only 7% of your communication is actually coming out of your mouth, is verbal communication. Rest 93%. 38% of that is vocal variety, how you articulate your words, how it goes up, volume comes down, how you raise a pitch, how you enact different characters. And 55% is body language. 55% of your communication is body language, which is why when you are in an interview, many times they'll make you sit about 6 feet away. And they'll give you a relatively easy question to answer. They'll give you something like, okay, tell us about your favorite food. And you'll say, oh, I'm going to ace this one because food. I mean, who cannot talk about food? That is what they're looking for. They're least bit interested whether you say rajma rice or whether you say spinach, onion, whatever. I hate spinach. They're least bit interested. What they're looking at is the integrity with which you are answering your question. They're looking at the ethos. They're not bothered about logos at present. They're looking at your body language, how comfortable you are. Later on, when they ask you a more difficult question, they again are not looking for your answer. What they're looking for is how you're answering that question. What is your body language now? And that is where they get to know whether you are lying or whether you are telling the truth. It's as simple as that. And if you think that I just told you a secret about interviewers, trust me, you do not have any control over your body language. There is always a giveaway. Because your body has to exude passion. You cannot fake passion. Not even the best actors in the world can fake passion. Okay. So do I have screen sharing rights? Because I'm going to do a very quick exercise. Madam Host. Am I able to share a screen? My screen?
Yes, sir. I'll just give you the permission.
Okay. What we are going to do is I'm going to give you a topic to read, and we are going to go with someone who's not spoken as such. You are allowing me to record the meeting, Madam Chair.
Sir, I cannot see the option. Can you send me a request?
To share the screen.
Yes, sir.
I can't send you a request. You'll just have to click on my name, and you have to click on the security tab and say allow sharing of screen.
All right, just 1 second.
If that is not possible, then we'll simply copy paste it. One of them is a picture. Done?
Yeah, sir, can you try now?
No, you still disabled screen sharing. All right, let's just do it in a simpler way. I'll just copy paste it into the chat window. And we will.
So now it should be active.
Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am going to choose Khushbu Vashisht. Khushbu, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here is the passage that you have to read out. Do you believe that a story has to be sensational, Khushbu?
Yeah,
Will you
sure.
tell a story?
Yes.
Do you think it necessarily has to be sensational? Otherwise, it is not a story.
Sorry, sir, can't hear you.
A story, should it be sensational or not for it to be a story?
Yes, sir, it should be sensational because...
Well, you're about to have your doubts cleared. Here goes. Just read out this passage. Can you see my screen? Are you able
Yes,
to?
sir.
You have to unmute yourself for that to work.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm not able to see the complete picture, complete screen. The text is less.
Yeah, you just have to read out the text.
So, your life tells a story, and there's someone out there who needs to hear it. You may think your story is not sensational, but it does not have to be sensational if it... So, can you please just scroll it like in the left?
Better now?
Yes, sir. Now it's fine. But it does not have to be sensational. It just have to be sincere. And if your audience can relate to you and your life experiences, chances are they will. Then you need to tell them what you have been through. Share your life, share your love, and share your message to the world.
Great. Now, Khushbu, what you are missing out on is a thing called pauses. Okay, because this is an inspirational message. You have to let the message sink in. The second thing that I will tell you is come closer when you are delivering a message. Come closer to the screen because you want the audience's attention there. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And if you're telling a story, then you kind of sit back and relax, because everybody learns to listen to stories. So I'll just read an excerpt. I will just tell you that your life tells a story, and there's someone out there who needs to hear it. Now, the hands also need to come into picture. Okay, you may think your story is not sensational, but it does not have to be sensational. It just has to be sincere. See how I modulate my voice so as to capture the attention. And that is what is passion. Okay, for my next victim, I spy with my all-seeing eye the name Harshita Singh. Harshita, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'll have to start this presentation. Can you see the screen? Okay, I stopped sharing. Stop again. Harshita, are you able to see?
Sir, it is the previous one.
I know, but you are able to see the screen completely, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
The study of technology is a constructive step. I believe that technology with its multitude of beneficial applications will prove to be a boon to humankind. Perhaps it will make us realize the need to live in harmony in this unique environment that sustains us on this small and precious planet. This is the call of technology age. We must heed it, we must hear it. There are few, if any, alternatives to this course of action, that of merging the mighty forces that flow from man and nature.
What I want you to focus on in this case are the adjectives. The more you stress upon the adjectives, the more effective your communication becomes. For example, perhaps it will make us realize the need to live in harmony in this unique, note the stress on the adjective, unique environment that sustains us on the small but precious planet. Small but precious planet. I did not have to paint a picture. I just used my voice modulation to make this planet look smaller, to drive the value of this planet. Does that make sense? Okay. For the next one, Shalini Singh, are you ready? And after that, Divya.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before I start, do you see this picture? Everyone.
No, sir. It's like it's not fully.
Yes, sir.
Do you see a picture on your left or your right and a lot of white space on the other one? Shalini.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There's a blank picture.
Okay. Now in this picture, do you see a dot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where is the dot? I'm going to move my cursor. Is the dot here?
So your cursor is not being. It's on my right hand side, sir. The color strip.
Can
is
you
in
see
the
my
middle of the
cursor?
color.
Can you see my cursor dancing around
No,
the screen? No?
No, sir. No.
Oh, hang on. What do I have to do? Oops, sorry. Okay. It's over here. I'm trying to draw something. Okay. Over here. Do you see
Yes,
the
sir.
laser pointer? Do you know what this is? That's the planet Earth. That picture was taken by Voyager in 1992. This picture is called the pale blue dot. Okay, and this picture has been taken from 6 billion miles away, from the edge of Saturn. So Carl Sagan, I don't know if you've heard the name, he passed away before many of you were born. Carl Sagan actually requested NASA to take this picture of our planet suspended in a beam of sunlight. Okay, and this picture is called the pale blue dot. If you guys ever want to read up, you can read up on the pale blue dot. But Shalini, I want you to read this out.
Okay. Sir, shall I start?
Yes.
We succeeded in taking that picture, and if you look at it, you see a dot. That's here, that's home, that's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of all our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, every mother and father, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam.
Now, did the way Shalini speak convey the anonymity of the situation? Did it feel like that she was speaking from 6 billion miles away? Now that is the feeling that you want to create when you're speaking. The aggregate of our joys and sufferings, the thousands of confident religions, ideologies, economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations. Now note that I am picking up the pace as I'm going forward, because I'm giving examples upon examples upon examples. And it is not necessary that you dwell upon the examples. It is more necessary that you get the point that I'm trying to say, that everyone lived here in that tiny pale blue dot. The following paragraphs are even more intriguing. Carl Sagan goes to talk about how we are insignificant in this universe, and yet how we consider ourselves to be significant. We occupy a country and we actually think that we've done a great thing. We've probably conquered a country, and that's a big thing for us. But in reality, it is just a pixel on this pale blue dot. And he captured that. You should listen to it. Just search for the pale blue dot. For my last exercise, I chose, there was somebody who was more than eager to go. Divya, was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Divya, here is your passage. Go.
Do you know that when smallpox was eradicated, it was considered the single greatest humanitarian achievement of this century? Surely we can do it again, as we did it in the times when our eyes looked towards the heavens and outstretched fingers, we touched the face of God.
Okay, what was missing here? Can anyone tell me? The last sentence. Surely we can do it again, as we did in the times when our eyes looked towards heaven and with outstretched fingers, we touched the face of God. This gesture, this simple gesture, is all it takes to convey what you are trying to say. That is why I'm saying 55% of what you are talking about is not even coming out of your mouth. We've been brought up in this belief that when we write essays, we should focus on the right language, the right words for the right occasions. And yes, they are important. But they are important only for 7% of your communication. Rest is your body language, your vocal variety. What you are trying to convey, that is more important. The intent behind your argument. I could go about telling you stories after stories after stories, but I'm going to close with this one, and then I can take questions and answers. How many of you know about the greenhouse effect?
Yes,
And
sir.
how many of you agree that it is harmful for us? And yet, how many of you have got air conditioners on in the rooms. It's not your fault actually. It's the way the story was told. And that is the importance of storytelling. That is the importance of public speaking. In Africa, there is a lake called Lake Kivu. It is about 50 miles wide and about 50 kilometers wide and about 90 kilometers long. Okay. And at its deepest, it is about 220 meters deep. It's a huge lake. And about estimated around 100 million people live around that lake. Those 100 million, those 1 million people will die one day. A slow, asphyxiating death. Do I have your attention? You will die. 1 million lives will be lost. You know why? You want to know why? I've created a hook now for you guys. Now you're intrigued. If you dive into that lake and you go down 220 meters depth, you will find, if you are able to find, that the composition of rocks there is such that those rocks are releasing carbon dioxide into the water. Now, whether you are a science student or not, but in class 7 or 8, you must have learned that carbon dioxide dissolves in water under pressure. That is the principle behind all our carbonated drinks. Okay, that is the principle. You open a can of Pepsi, it fizzes out. You open a can of Coke, it fizzes out. It doesn't matter whether you like Coke or Pepsi. Personally, I cannot tell the difference. But that is the principle. So as that carbon dioxide is getting released into the water, it is getting dissolved. And all is fine and dandy until there is a seismic event, an earthquake, a volcano erupting nearby. Now that balance is disturbed. The water churns, carbon dioxide rises up. As the carbon dioxide rises up, the pressure is receding. The carbon dioxide is now less soluble in water. And then it rises up, goes up. And just like when you open a Coke can and Coke oozes out, that water is going to ooze out like a huge tsunami. Now that tsunami is not going to kill 1 million people. The carbon dioxide that releases into the atmosphere, understand that carbon dioxide is heavier than air. It will take a while before it dissipates into the atmosphere. It will form an envelope. Every living being under that envelope, under that cloud of carbon dioxide, will die a slow, asphyxiating death. Do I have your attention now? And that is how you tell a story. You know where Lake Kivu is? It borders Rwanda and Central African Republic. Now this region is politically unstable. You will find warlords there. You will find drug traffickers. You will find pirates. Imagine somebody going and telling a story that, look, this is the case. 1 million people are going to die. People will say, who cares? Except someone went and told that story about Lake Kivu. In that politically unstable region, where there are more gang wars, where people kill each other because one person's grandfather said something to another person's grandmother 100 years ago. And those two tribes are warring with each other. Where the chances of you getting your head cut are bigger than you contracting a disease over there. And disease is prevalent. There, people went and installed 2 pumps. These pumps are now releasing carbon dioxide into the air in controlled quantities. And the byproduct of that, methane is also getting released, which is now being used for fuel purposes. Why did it happen? Because somebody went and told a story. And now it is my challenge to you. This world faces a lot of problems. But if there is one thing that this world needs, it is a storyteller. And if I can make one storyteller out of you today, one storyteller out of 100 people who attended today, I will have done my job. Because that one storyteller has the power to change the world. And that is what public speaking does to you. Soldiers on borders, they protect lives. Doctors in operating theaters, they save lives. But practice public speaking, practice telling a story. I guarantee you, you have the power to change the world. And may you change the world. Now I will take questions. Thank you very much for being such a patient audience. Anyone, any questions? No questions? Going once? Going twice? And sold. So I'm expecting at least 113 storytellers today. Thank you very much. It was an absolute honor being able to share some of my experiences and some of stories. It was wonderful listening to your stories. And with that, I will hand it back to Sanjana. Is that you? Or who do I hand it back to? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Thank you, sir. That was, yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was a staggering and enlightening session. And I'm positive we have learned a lot from you today. And if anyone has any queries or want to say anything, they can go.
So I think Tanya has a question. She wants to ask about the hand gestures. So Tanya, can you just go ahead and mute yourself and let her know what your query is?
Yeah, sure. So, hello, sir. I have a question. It's related to hand gestures. Normally, while we speak, there are two types of people. They either stand ideally, not moving around, or there are people who usually use their hands to express what they are saying. And I'm the type of person who uses my hand. So, sir, sometimes it gets a lot more distracting, these hand gestures. So what can I do to reduce it? At the same time, I can express my feelings with these hands, so it won't be disturbing.
Excellent question, Tanya. So I'll give you two examples as to where you can use your hand gestures. Okay. For example, in the slide where we were talking about, do you know that when smallpox was eradicated, now open palm gestures saying that they were eradicated, it was considered the single biggest achievement in humanity. Now, this finger is specifying the single biggest achievement, okay? Emphasizing on the adjectives. Surely we can do it again, as we did in the times when our eyes look towards the heavens. Now my eyes go toward the heaven, and in a yearning gesture, I clasp my hands together like this. And with outstretched fingers, we touch the face of God. Now, that's my hands talking. Now, another example. Suppose you were asked to talk about yourself. You've got 3 stories to tell. One story is in your childhood. The other one is your school life. The third one is your college life. So what you do is that, let me start at my childhood. Now your hands are over here. In my childhood, I was a rebellious child, blah, 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 blah. Your story has happened over here. Okay. In my school life, my journey continued, and you tell a story about your school life. In my college, I blah, 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 blah. Now what has happened? College, school, childhood. Childhood, college, school. Now, if you're talking about your college life and you want to refer to your childhood, see what is happening. Your hands are doing the talking to you. You want to talk about your school while you're in college, like this. If you're in your school life and you're trying to talk about college, I would learn that in college. The lessons that were taught in my childhood suddenly came flooding back to me. What have you done? You have created a virtual timeline on stage. See what you've done. It's a virtual timeline. Now you can play around with that timeline. That's another example. What I will suggest to you is have a default position for your hands. The most common is this one, the way I've held them. You can also hold them like this, but not very tightly. My favorite position is like this. I like to do this. So that when you are going to make a point, you can say 1, 2, and 3, like this, and then your hands go back into your default position. I hope that was helpful, Tanya. Pooja, you've raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to ask, like when we are on a stage and speaking something, and like we are forget, like what we are going, what's our topic, then like how we proceed.
Okay. Very good question. What I want you to do starting today is to read a passage every day. Number one, that will give you stories. The second thing is to do an Oreo topic every day. Think of a topic and just construct an Oreo around it. You start today. Why? Because you're preparing for that one day when you will be asked to come on stage and speak, or asked to come into an interview and speak. And when that answer comes, you guys are in your first year? All of you are in your first year? So maybe 4 years down the line, you will be giving an answer to a question. And that answer should hit your interviewer like it was coming for 4 years. Understand? The power of those 4 years should be reflected in that answer. The interviewer should get to know that what you've been giving as an answer, you've been practicing it for the last 4 years. That is the only way. Does that answer your question, Pooja?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome. Nidhi, you have a question?
Yes, sir. So, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, many a times when we are about to speak on a public platform, sir, the inner voice comes from you that that tells you that you are going to mess up, like you are going to stammer, or like anyway you are going to do that good. So, sir, how to calm that voice? Like that.
You're talking about nervousness. Okay. Now, let me tell you a fact. Nervousness and excitement spring from the same source in the brain. The source is the same. Effectively, it is a matter of choice. Instead of saying that I'm going to be nervous, tell yourself that I'm going to be excited. Okay. First time you will fail miserably. But we have something called a subconscious mind. That subconscious mind has decided that you are going to be excited the next time around. Next time comes, you'll probably fail. But your subconscious mind will tell you, hey, this is a way that you will not fail. Third time you try, it starts becoming a habit. By the 21st time, nervousness will be a thing of the past. It is said that when you try something for 21st time, it starts becoming a habit. Does it make sense? Yes, but it starts with recognizing one thing. Nervousness, excitement spring from the same source in the brain. So are you nervous or are you excited?
So most of the time I'm excited also, but I'm nervous
from
also.
Today onwards, just choose to be excited. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
Rest
you so
your
much.
subconscious mind will take care of it. Take care. Okay, if there are no further questions.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Muskan.
Sir,
you've gotten rid of your headphones. Great.
Yeah. So, sir, I feel like breathless when I am asked to speak in front of people I don't know. And at the same time, I feel to talk a lot, or I'm very talkative with the people whom I know. So how these two things go?
How often do you talk to your friends?
What, sir?
How often do you talk to your friends on phone? You know that conversation, kya chal raha hai? Kuch nahi. Tu bata aur bata. That sort of a conversation. How often does that happen?
It happens almost daily.
Or daily. And do you run out of breath at that time?
No, I feel good. I feel happy, excited.
Where is your answer? When you come on stage, when you're talking to people, you just have to be yourself. A lot of people will tell you, be on your best behavior, be this, be that. But trust me, and I've worked with organizations, multinational organizations. Many people used to think that you need to have the right kind of an accent to talk to a foreigner. But the foreigners, they are much more accepting than you think. They will clarify things with you. You just have to be yourself. Do not try to be somebody else. You run out of breath because you're trying to be somebody else, or you're in a rush to get your ideas out. That is when you run out of breath. Just try to be yourself.
Okay. Also, this happens often to me that when I'm asked to speak, I'm speaking something. I am in between. And I also have to speak more, but I forgot what I am talking about, or I just lost it.
That is Oreo. That is where Oreo comes in. That is where Oreo comes in. So find a reason, stick to that reason. That's it. Another reason comes, you have to park it. Probably you can use that reason in a subsequent story. If given a free hand, I can tell you 100 stories, but you do not have that kind of a time. More importantly, the patience. Trust me on that. Okay. It's a myth that the more data you give, the more people will comprehend you. No, it's the other way around. You just have to look at the Google homepage or an Apple store. The way they use their white space. Everything is in the center. There's a lot of space to roam around. Focus on that one point that you're talking about. That's it. How to overcome fear of judgment? Yasmin asked that question. Why do you even want to have fear of judgment? I mean, here is the thing. We are learning for you, Yasmin, and for everyone in this room. You cannot spend the rest of your life trying to impress people. If you're going to do that, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Trust me on that. It's like, calling up your dad and saying, oh, did I do well? What do you think? If you're seeking genuine feedback, that is one thing. But if you're looking for appreciation, do not do that. Do not subject yourself to the judgment of others, because you will never be able to make everyone happy unless you are ice cream. And you're not ice cream. Okay, much as you want to be, but you're not ice cream. But the point, am I making sense? You will never be happy if you're going to live your life trying to impress others. Express yourself. The whole motive of communication or public speaking is not to impress your audience. It is to express yourself, your ideas. They need to listen to your ideas. They do not need to listen to what they want to hear. Does it make sense, Yasmin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So never ever subject yourself, be at the mercy of somebody's judgment. Just go out there, do your best. And if you can come back, look yourself in the mirror and say that I could not have done a better job given the circumstances today, you're good to go. After that, awards, recognitions, they are all secondary. Okay. I think we are close to the end of time. It's 17:54. We were supposed to end at what time, Sanjana?
Sir, 5:30.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting. Sanjana has my contact details. If you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you for being such a patient and such a wonderful audience. It was an absolute honor talking to you. And I look forward to talking to you people again. And who knows, you might be in a multinational tomorrow and our paths might cross again or wherever. All the best. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I want to extend a
Bye,
warm
sir.
thank you and sincerest thank you to you on behalf of NSS Gargi, and you helped us upgrade and explore ourselves, and you helped us to upgrade ourselves of public speaking. Your knowledge and expertise is really valuable, and I speak not only for myself but for everyone in this meet. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. God bless you all. And hopefully we'll meet again. Bye-bye. I'll take your leave now.